Hi, it's Andy Partington here, Commodore of Hailing Island Sailing Club. Thought it'd be a good time to have a chat again. The club's been open a few weeks and what a spectacular couple of weeks we've had. The weather's been amazing. We've had a lot of people out sailing, a lot of households out sailing, and just great to see everybody down there and enjoying themselves. I think there's a lot of people been out in boats that they probably wouldn't normally go sailing with members of their household that they might not normally go sailing with, but I think everybody's enjoyed it. And I suppose I do feel a little bit for those of you who maybe haven't got the opportunity to go sailing with anybody in your household, or maybe you've got a boat that's not suitable, but just to remind you that the hire fleet is now operational, so that might give you some options to go sailing that you didn't have before, so it might be worth thinking about. One of the things that when I spoke to you last time we were probably most concerned about as a club was the sort of level of activity that we'd see at the club during this sort of open up phase, and how we'd manage that with social distancing, etc. And I'm happy to report really that, well, we had over 500 people at the club over a couple of the busy days over the bank holiday, and really, I think we can confidently say that things went, very well. The social distancing measures worked, the procedures, the way we'd opened up the site all worked pretty well. There were a couple of pinch points, but I think in general, a great success, and it was great to see everybody down there. We did have some security and still have some security challenges. I'm not going to dwell too much on those in this chat, because that's something that we're going to come back to in a later date and give you probably a full briefing on, because there's a lot of activity in that area. But thank you to everybody that's volunteered to help with that challenge, doing the patrols, etc. It's really been working, and a great team effort from everybody. But more of that on a later date. So today I really wanted to talk about our finances. Now don't turn off, don't go away now. It's not that bad. And I hope you'll find what I've got to say interesting, informative. But the General Committee wanted me to update you and just sort of help you understand where we are and some of the challenges that we face as a club. But before that, I just want to tell you about, I had a chat with somebody on the beach at the weekend. We were socially distanced, of course. I had a chat with this little fella. And now this is Sebastian Terence Whitty. Now he's 8.5 months old, and as you can see there, he's quite keen on windsurfers. He's also my grandson, but we had a little chat, and one of the things that, to be honest, we agreed on was we were most impressed by all the foiling windsurfers that are out there this weekend. There were a lot of youngsters out there enjoying themselves on these sort of new bits of kit. A lot of people out there that probably hadn't foiled before, so it was just great to see all that, and we agreed that we needed to talk to the birthday fairies and see what they could do, because we both fancied a bit of foiling. But anyway, let's get back to the finances of the club, and let's sort of talk about where we are and the challenge that we have now we've moved out of this lockdown phase. Now, I think some people thought that getting through the lockdown, closing down and opening back up, that was the real challenge. But in reality, that was the easy bit. The hard bit, the difficult bit, is now getting back to anywhere near a sort of normal financial picture for the club. And let me explain what I mean by that. So, our financial target or revenue this year was predicted to be about 1.6, 1.7 million pounds, and that's roughly divided into three buckets. There's the income we get from our membership in terms of their fees, there's the income we get from sailing events and sailing in general, and then there's the income we get from house and the restaurant and bar, etc. And they're pretty much split evenly, a third. And just to give you the sort of gravity of where we are, so right now, okay, we have the income coming in from you as a membership, which is fantastic, and people have supported us with that, but the other 2/3 are currently at zero. We do not have any sailing events income coming in at the moment. We do not have any house bar, restaurant revenue coming in at the moment, and those things are only going to come back relatively slowly. So we have a significant reduction in our revenue this year, and we need to plan accordingly for that, which is exactly what we're doing. So let me talk about what is happening to respond to that financial challenge. And the answer is, the short answer is, a lot's happening. The first thing that we're doing is, we are looking at how can we build that revenue back, but we have to do that in a careful and conservative way. So for example, we can't just bring the house services back as they were. They would make a deficit as they were. We can only bring things back gradually as the government restrictions lift and we can open up services. So we may only be able to bring a takeaway service back. We may only be able to open the bar at certain times. We may only be able to serve outdoors. So lots of restrictions that are likely to impact our ability to bring the house revenue back to anything like normal in the short term. But we're looking at that, and we're looking at what we can do, and as soon as restrictions lift, we'll move on that as quickly as we can. We're also looking at what club events might we be able to hold over the summer that would help alleviate some of that revenue drop. But the reality is, a lot of the major events, like some of the nationals that were scheduled, so the championships, are cancelled, and if they're not cancelled now, they're under significant threat of being cancelled because they can't be run in the current environment that we find ourselves in. So we are looking at how we build the revenue back up, but it will be slow. We'll have to do it in a careful way to make sure we don't make our deficit worse, to be honest. Now, the second thing that obviously you need to do in a situation where revenue is significantly down is you need to look at your costs, and we will need to make some hard decisions on our costs. And I won't be nothing specific about that at the moment, but we will be coming back to you about what decisions we need to make about cutting costs. But we obviously need to look at that very seriously and do what we can to keep our costs down. The third thing we're doing is looking at our cash flow forecasting. How much cash have we got? How quickly are we using that cash? What deficit are we likely to have? And there are a number of mechanisms we can use to support that, because we are going to find ourselves in deficit at some point this year. We can look at we have an overdraft in place that we can use. We do have the ability to go out and take a loan at some very favourable rates given the sort of governmental schemes that have been put in place. We may need to come to the membership and ask for permission to do that, depending on how big that loan needs to be. We've also looked at grants and are looking at grants, and we've applied for a number of them right now. We don't hold out a great deal of hope that is going to be anything significant for us, but we have done a lot of work in that area and have applied and will be applying for things that are available for us. And the fourth thing we might do on that sort of cash front is potentially come to the membership and ask them to support us in some way. The club has done that in the past. We're not ruling out doing that in the future. Again, nothing specific on that at the moment, but it's an option that's available to help us get through this particular situation we find ourselves in at the moment. And I think almost very importantly, as we bring back the services, we need to make sure they come back, creating a surplus. Every day we operate at the moment, we are digging into our reserves. And as we bring services back, we've got to be very careful to try and make sure that they do generate a surplus. So that's why we brought the hire fleet back, because that obviously is something that can generate some income for us. So please, when these services do come back, please support them, use them, and that will help the club enormously. So that's the sort of challenge we face, and those are the measures we're taking to address those challenges. And we are in a difficult phase here. The rebuilding back to some sort of new normal is a big challenge. But don't get down about it. I'm certainly not down about it. We are responding to that challenge. The general committee, excuse me, the crew, everybody that's involved in this is working every day to try and put the measures in place to respond to this financial situation we're in. And I believe very strongly that we will come back better for it. We'll come back stronger. I think we'll come back more compassionate. I think we'll become more thankful of the great place that we have, the camaraderie we have as members. I think we're all very thankful for that, and we've all missed it during the lockdown. So I truly believe we're going to come back bigger, better and stronger than we are now. But we have a challenge to meet, and all I'm asking for is your support in that process, and we'll keep you updated on decisions that we're making. But rest assured, we're working on this every day and doing our utmost to protect the club and build a strong future for it. Thank you.